Viewer, please like and subscribe me, and we send the amazing and wonderful African stories. Thanks.
It had been 4 years, but for Jillian Carter, it felt like the worst nightmare of her life had happened just yesterday. She trusted her boyfriend, believed he would stand by her side. She gave him everything. Nothing was left for herself. Yet it was him who shattered her in the end. "You're a slut, a gold digger. I should have trusted what my mum told me," yelled Cedric Walker, right after he threw a pile of photographs in her face. Photos of her with men she didn't even know. His ex-girlfriend, Scarlett, had done everything she could to ruin Jillian's image in front of Cedric, and even more so with his mother, who already disliked her. After all, who was she? A soap opera actress who always played the villain, doing what she could to earn just enough to save and survive. The little money she made often came with harsh criticism because of her roles. Jillian clenched her fist as she stared into the distance. She was still haunted by how she completely broke down the last time she saw him. The man who still filled her heart and mind. Yes, she hated him. But why couldn't her heart let go? He gave up on her so easily. But why was it that her mind and heart refused to surrender? Slut. Gold digger. That's what you thought of me all these years, Cedric. I gave you everything. You know that. I trusted you. I thought you were on my side. And yet, those cruel words came straight from your own mouth. How dare you? Her tears flowed harder as she remembered that final scene. She knew she was an emotional person. It came with being an actress. But this wasn't a scene. This was real. The kind of sorrow that could fill buckets. And there were no cameras rolling. "Mummy, are you crying again?" asked Vaughn, her eldest among the triplets. He was the most mature of the three. She quickly wiped her tears and lifted him into her lap, carrying him back into their room. "You really should be sleeping. It's late and your brothers are already in bed. Why are you still up?" she asked. "Because I'm worried about you. I had to check if you're okay." "Yes, baby, I'm all right. Don't worry too much." "You're the best, Mommy," he said sweetly, ruffling her hair. "You always miss him, don't you?" he asked again, catching her off guard. Sometimes her son surprised her with how unpredictable and perceptive he was. "You're really something, baby. You know so much. Now go to sleep." "Okay, but Mommy, when is Dad coming home? You said he's working far away. Doesn't he love us? He hasn't even visited us once," Vaughn muttered, visibly upset. Jillian let out a heavy sigh. She didn't know how to respond. As the triplets got older, their questions grew harder. She didn't want them to feel like they didn't have a father. She feared that one day, in school, they'd be bullied for not having one. She never denied them Cedric's surname. She applied it. Whatever the consequences, she was prepared. "You know what, Vaughn? You should sleep now. Who knows? Maybe if you dream of your brothers twice tonight, you'll see your father. Wouldn't that be nice?" "Yes, Mommy, I'd really like that." He happily tugged at her hand, asking her to tuck him and his brothers into bed. Vaughn lay down quickly and shut his eyes, excited for the dream she promised. Jillian sighed as she watched her sons. How could she possibly deny they were Cedric's kids? They were practically carbon copies of him. If she hadn't memorized their unique mannerisms by now, even she would have trouble telling them apart, Vaughn, Vince, and Vice. She was also starting to worry about her finances. Her savings were nearly gone. She hadn't earned anything since she went into hiding at her grandfather's rural home, running away from what Cedric and his family did to her. She felt conspired against. The triplets were growing, and so were their expenses. School was just around the corner. But no matter how hard things got, she had no plans of telling Cedric she had children. His children. He was a billionaire. It would be too easy for him to take them away from her. She had hidden her pregnancy from him intentionally. She only found out after arriving in the countryside. Despite the pain and hardship, she faced her pregnancy alone. Just as she stood up from the triplets' bed, her phone rang. She immediately opened the message. It was from her best friend, also an actress. "Jillian, I have good news for you." "What is it?" she texted back, her brows furrowed. Seconds later, her friend called. Jillian rarely made calls. She had to save every bit of mobile credit she had. "What? Is your budget that tight now?" her friend Leslie teased. "Well, here's the news. You have a big break waiting. There's a new soap opera in the works, and they're looking for someone just like you. A lead villainess with heart." Jillian was confused. A villain and the lead? Leslie, make that make sense. "Girl, they're looking for someone who can throw shade like you. That's what they want." Jillian nodded. It sounded tempting. "That sounds great, Les, but I have nowhere to stay in L. You know I sold my condo, and I have triplets. Who's going to take care of them?" "That's not a problem. I have a huge house here and I live alone. Stay with me. We can take turns watching the triplets. I'm their godmother, after all." Leslie was more enthusiastic than she was. She was the only person who knew Jillian's location and her secret about the triplets. She had kept it safe all these years. "Leslie, you've already done so much for me," Jillian began, but her friend cut her off. "Oh, please, what are friends for? Come to the city tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up at the LA bus terminal. No more buts. Grab this opportunity for your triplets." Jillian nodded, even though Leslie couldn't see her. She realized she couldn't pass up the income she'd make. She needed to save for the children's future. So in the end, she agreed. Cedric Walker was about to leave the office for an important meeting when his private phone rang. Only a few people had access to that number, so he immediately knew the call was important. It was his secretary from Silvercrest Bus Lines. His brows furrowed as unease crept in. Trouble at the company again? "Mrs. Reyes, why are you calling? I've got somewhere to be," he answered flatly. "Good morning, sir. Sorry to bother you, but your ex, Jillian Carter, just stepped off one of our buses a little while ago," the woman said. Cedric's temper flared. "Seriously, Mrs. Reyes? You called me for that? Why would I care?" he snapped, already annoyed. "But sir, she's not alone. She has 3 little boys with her. And sir, they look just like you. That's why I called." Mrs. Reyes knew about their history. That's probably why she assumed the boys were his. "What? Call the guards. Don't let them leave the terminal. Now." He ended the call and rushed out, driving like a madman toward the terminal with his hazard lights on. He couldn't explain it, but something inside him was about to explode. Maybe it was excitement or fear. He was angry at Jillian, yes, but the possibility that the boys were his, that changed everything. "Let us go. Can't you see you're scaring the kids?" Jillian protested to the guards surrounding them. "What are you doing? Why are you blocking our way?" "Stand down," Cedric's commanding voice boomed from behind. The guards backed off immediately. Jillian's eyes widened when she saw who it was. Too late. There was no hiding the kids now, especially not all 3 of them. She could see the shock on their faces. "Daddy, you're here! Is this the surprise?" Vaughn cheered as he jumped excitedly. As soon as Cedric bent down, Vaughn wrapped his arms around his neck. Vince and Vice weren't far behind. They each grabbed onto Cedric's legs. He could hardly contain them. There was no denying it. They were his. A DNA test wasn't even necessary. He felt an overwhelming sense of ease in their presence. Tears welled up in his eyes. Suddenly, he understood what had been missing in his life all these years. This, being a father. These boys. The triplets embraced him all at once, and Cedric couldn't hold back his tears. Jillian stood a few feet away, watching silently, not pleased. He brought them all to his mansion without asking for permission. He had rights to the children too, and Jillian had no choice but to follow. She crossed her arms, her thoughts scattered. The sudden reunion left her shaken. She had never planned for Cedric to meet the boys. She had worked hard to raise them alone, in hiding. And now he just showed up. And how could she explain why the kids already knew who he was? "Get in," Cedric ordered coldly as he opened the front passenger door. She shot him a glance but quickly looked away. His glare was the same as the last time he drove her out of his life, with his mother by his side. "You're going to explain everything, woman," he added harshly. Gillian closed her eyes as his hand moved toward her, but she instinctively pulled away. She was still traumatized. That slap from years ago had left more than just a physical mark. Cedric noticed her flinch. His face softened with guilt. "Just put on your seatbelt," he muttered. Gillian sighed heavily. "Dad, are we going to your house?" Vin asked happily from the back seat. "Yes, baby, you're all staying there, forever," Cedric replied with a smile. "You heard that, Mom? We're going to live with Daddy now. We're a whole family. Yay!" Vince shouted as the triplets erupted in joy from the back seat. When they arrived at the mansion, the boys were in awe. "Wow, this is your house, Daddy," Vaughn gasped. "Not anymore, babies. This house belongs to all of us now," Cedric replied. They were used to their modest home in the countryside. This mansion was overwhelming. "You hear that, Mom? This mansion is ours," Vaughn cheered. Gillian sighed, rubbing her temples. What would Cedric think now? That she used the kids to gain access to his wealth? That she was fishing for fortune again? And his mother? Oh, she would be furious, seeing this as proof that Gillian was just a gold digger. She could already feel the sting of his mother's judgment, low, hateful, and unrelenting. Cedric stared at her with visible irritation. Of course he was still mad. And just when the tension couldn't get worse, Scarlett walked in, the woman who ruined everything between her and Cedric. Scarlett, the one who crushed her image, who dragged her down. "What's going on here? Who are these kids? And what does this mean?" she asked Cedric, eyes wide. "Wait, babe, let me explain," Cedric tried to reason. Vaughn was only 3, but hearing his dad say, "babe," and seeing him look at another woman made him upset. He concluded immediately, Dad was cheating. Vaughn shook his head, tears pooling in his eyes. "You're lying, Mom," he cried. Gillian was startled by his reaction. "Baby, why?" "You lied. This man is a cheater. You said he was far away working. That's why he didn't visit us. But now I know. You were protecting him. You both lied to us." He shouted through his sobs and ran out of the house. "Vaughn, wait. Vince, Vice, you two stay here, okay?" Gillian ordered quickly and chased after Vaughn. Cedric rushed out after them. "Cedric, what do you think you're doing?" Scarlett snapped, furious as her fiancé ran after his ex and the child. "Look, babe, I'll explain everything after I fix this, all right?" he said, before running off. Gillian caught up to Vaughn outside near the security guard, who was holding the boy back from exiting the gate. Vaughn was thrashing, trying to break free. "Let me go! I don't want to be here!" he screamed in frustration. "Vaughn, wait, son. Please, listen to me, okay? You say you're a young man, right? Then act like one." "Listen to Mommy," she begged as she knelt and held him from behind. "Then why are you protecting that man? He's a cheater. I heard it." Vaughn cried. "Son." Cedric was approaching now. "Stay away from me. You broke my mom's heart. You're a cheater." Vaughn yelled at him, eyes blazing. "Vaughn, that's rude. He's your dad. Can you please let him explain?" Gillian gently pleaded. Vaughn nodded, signaling he was ready to listen. "I'm not cheating, baby," Cedric said firmly. Vaughn stared at him, waiting for more. "Babe is just a name. That woman's name is Babe. It's not a pet name. That's just her name," Cedric lied. Gillian looked away. The truth hurt. He was lying again, this time to their son. Part of her wanted to slap him, even though her heart still beat for him. "So you're not cheating on Mom? You still love each other?" Vaughn asked. Yes, of course we still do. Right, honey? Cedric said, glancing at Gillian, who was too stunned to respond. Before she could answer, Vaughn had another request. Then kiss Mommy. Grinning, the boy looked up expectantly. Without hesitation, Cedric leaned in. Gillian flinched, but didn't resist. Their eyes met, the anger still lingering between them. See? I kissed her. She kissed me back, Cedric declared to Vaughn. The truth was, they only stared at each other, but to the boy it was enough. They returned to the mansion, the boys clinging to Cedric. But Vaughn had one condition. They all had to sleep in the same room together. Gillian wanted to say no, but she knew Vaughn would insist. Back inside, Scarlett was still waiting. She and Cedric had made dinner plans, but that was now cancelled. He couldn't let the triplets become suspicious, especially Vaughn, who thought and spoke like an adult. Aunt Babe, please meet our sons, Vaughn, Vince, and Vice, Cedric introduced with forced cheer. Gillian didn't know whether to laugh or gag at his performance. Your dear aunt, right? Auntie Babe? Cedric grinned at Scarlett, who hesitated but played along. Oh yes, I'm your aunt, babies, Scarlett replied, giving them a fake smile. Aunt Babe, can you please go home now? We need to bond with our sons, Cedric added softly, but with authority. Scarlett's face crumpled as she walked out of the mansion. Gillian brought the triplets to the large bedroom and began cleaning them up. Cedric watched, amazed at how affectionate the boys were with their mom. Gillian was tired but smiling, juggling their chaos with grace. He couldn't help but admire her. How did she manage 3 kids for all those years alone? She never even asked him for help, not even financially. He knew she wasn't wealthy. How did she do it? But that admiration quickly turned to suspicion. His mind drifted back to those photographs, the ones Scarlett gave him, pictures of Gillian with random men in compromising situations. What if the money to raise the triplets came from those men? His blood boiled again. Without thinking, he called his staff and ordered hidden cameras to be installed all over the mansion. Discreetly. He didn't want Gillian catching on. He needed to keep an eye on her, the woman he still believed might be after his wealth. Daddy, you know Mommy is really brave? Vaughn came running up to him, already dressed. Vaughn, can you please shut your mouth? Gillian scolded from across the room, still dressing Vice. Really? Cedric asked, now curious. Yeah, but don't tell Mommy I said this. She'll get mad, Vaughn whispered. Okay, it's our secret, Cedric replied. There was this handsome man who came to our house in a helicopter. He wanted to date Mommy, but she said no. She told us she already loves someone. And I think it's you, Daddy. She always cries. I think she misses you. Vaughn's little voice was barely a whisper, but Gillian heard everything. Her son's chatter left her frozen. Cedric would now assume the worst again. Once the triplets' hair was dry, she tucked them into the oversized bed, so large it could probably fit 3 more sets of triplets. As they settled in, the boys continued chatting. Gillian, however, had already fallen asleep. She was exhausted from the trip. Lower your voices. Mommy's sleeping, Vaughn told his brothers. Cedric was once again struck by his eldest son's maturity. He couldn't believe this was his family, real and joyful. For so long, he had held only hatred for Gillian. But now he was grateful. She had given him not 1, but 3 sons. After the boys fell asleep, Cedric left them with the nannies and went to find Scarlett. He needed to explain. At first, Scarlett refused to accept his explanations or even talk about what happened. So Cedric told her straight, "Let's just call off the wedding. Don't push it anymore." But Scarlett protested immediately. "No, I will never agree to cancel our wedding, Cedric," she said angrily. "Then understand the situation. Don't go around telling the triplets that you're my fiancé. You're their aunt. That's it. I've failed them long enough. I need to make up for it. If you love me, you'll cooperate. Scarlett had no choice but to nod. She couldn't risk losing Cedric now. That would crush her dream of living like a queen beside a billionaire. That's why she had done everything to destroy Jillian's image. And now, she needed to find another way to remove Jillian and her kids from Cedric's life. In the days that followed, Jillian got up early, as always, to cook for the triplets. She made macaroni soup for breakfast. One of the maids offered to help, but Jillian refused. She wanted to take care of everything for her sons herself. She had just finished cooking when Scarlett suddenly slapped her across the face. So early in the day, and already she was causing trouble. "Scarlett!" Jillian gasped, holding her cheek. "How dare you! You're really using those 3 kids just to get Cedric back from me," Scarlett accused. "You're wrong, Scarlett," Jillian defended herself. "Really? Then why are you clinging to this house? Because I can't leave my children behind? They're all I have left after you ruined everything for me. My career, my reputation. You didn't spare anything." Tears rolled down Jillian's cheeks. She was terrified to fight back. What if Cedric kicked her out for laying a hand on his girlfriend? She didn't want to be separated from her children. So even as Scarlett pushed her down to the floor, she didn't retaliate. Cedric was rich. If he found out she hurt his girlfriend, he might take the triplets away from her. She had kept them hidden for so long, she couldn't let it all be for nothing. "You know what? I should have killed you. I shouldn't have settled for faking those photos. You brought an ace card back into my life. Those damn kids. You and your spawn are a curse to me." Scarlett spat. Jillian stood up and met her furious gaze. "Don't involve my children, Scarlett. I have no intention of stealing Cedric from you. You can have him. I don't care about him anymore. All I care about are my kids. That's why I'm putting up with seeing your faces every day. Besides, do you really think Cedric would take me back? He hates me. He sees me as filthy because of your fake photos. Those men, I don't even know any of them. Take it all out on me. I can take it. But if you ever lay a hand on my children, you'll regret the day you ever met me. Leave my kids alone." Scarlett just smirked. Before leaving, she slapped Jillian again, twice this time. Jillian didn't say a word. She just cried, staring at the retreating form of the woman who had tormented her. "I'll endure everything. For you, my children. I don't want to be apart from you," she sobbed. She was on her way upstairs when she crossed paths with the man who had caused her all this pain. But she was also grateful to him. After all, without him, the triplets wouldn't exist. She tried to walk past without making eye contact, but he grabbed her arm, stopping her. Scarlett's insults still echoed in her ears. Now it was Cedric's turn. She didn't speak. She tried to pull away, but he tightened his grip. "You shouldn't be teaching our children how to lie." Jillian was stunned. Why would she teach her kids to lie? That was a heavy accusation, especially coming from the man she thought had once known her deeply. She tried again to free herself, fearing more unjust accusations. But he grabbed her hair, forcing her to look him in the eye. This, she realized, was just the beginning of her heartbreak. She vowed then and there, this would be her last cry. From now on, she would be strong, not for herself, but for her children. Cedric held her chin and turned her face toward him. He looked confused. She knew why. He had just noticed her swollen red cheeks. He immediately let her go, and she rushed to the room where her children were, hoping the redness would fade before Vaughn woke up. Of the 3, Vaughn was the most observant. He would definitely ask questions. He was her defender, the one who would stand up for her someday against people like Scarlett and Cedric. Meanwhile, Cedric went downstairs to get a cup of coffee. He couldn't shake the image of Jillian's miserable face from his mind. His chest tightened every time he saw her in pain. He wanted to punch himself. He knew she was an actress, capable of putting on a show. But still, he found himself softening. Again. Never again. he whispered. He had wanted to talk to her about why she hid the triplets for so long, but she had clearly been avoiding him. There would be time to talk. Eventually, they'd have to settle everything, including his rights to the children. "Salve, can you make me some coffee?" he asked one of the maids, sitting at the dining table. The aroma of the soup wafted into the room. His stomach growled. "Salve, did you cook macaroni soup?" "No, sir. Miss Gillian did. She said it's for the triplets." "She did?" Cedric asked, his brow furrowing. "Yes, sir. She's really something. Poor woman," the maid murmured. "What do you mean, poor woman?" "Oh, I mean, nothing, sir. Sorry." "Salve, tell me what happened," Cedric demanded. The maid hesitated, but then spoke quickly. "Sir, Miss Scarlett slapped Miss Gillian earlier this morning. She just barged into the kitchen." "Scarlett was here?" Cedric asked, shocked. "Yes, sir, but she left right after." He grabbed his coffee and silently went back upstairs, not to Gillian's room, but to his own. He wanted to check the CCTV footage. Thank goodness the cameras had been installed quickly. That explained her red cheeks. He opened the monitor in his bedroom and immediately checked the footage from the family's room. He saw Gillian talking on the phone and adjusted the audio to listen. He assumed she was talking to a boyfriend. "Leslie, I won't make it to the audition. I can't leave the triplets behind. What if Cedric hides them from me? I'd go insane. I'm sorry I didn't meet you at the terminal yesterday. Cedric's men stopped us. Turns out he owns the bus company we rode in on. Everything happened so fast, I didn't even have time to call you. But don't worry, we're okay for now. Once Cedric and I settle things, I'll ask to live separately with the kids. I'll call you again when I'm ready to leave. Thank you so much, Leslie. Since I got pregnant and lost my career, you've always been there for me." Gillian's voice broke as she cried over the phone. Cedric covered his mouth, stunned by what he'd just heard. That was why she came out of hiding. She was trying to go back to work. She must have run out of savings because of the kids. He had never supported her, not even financially. He felt worthless, not just as a father, but as a man. He watched the next camera feed, this one from the kitchen. He fast-forwarded to the moment Scarlett slapped Gillian and played the audio. What he heard shocked him. He was drenched in cold realization. He had been manipulated. All this time, he thought Gillian had betrayed him, but she was innocent, and he had let her suffer. He had believed Scarlett's lies and ruined the life of the woman he loved most. He was supposed to be smart, a successful businessman, but now he felt like the dumbest man alive. He nearly smashed the CCTV monitor. For 5 years, he had hated Gillian with every fiber of his being. 5 years lost. His family suffered. He had been so blind. "What kind of man am I?" he whispered, tears of rage and regret pooling in his eyes. Gillian wondered about the banging noises she heard from the other room. It sounded like someone was having a meltdown. The noise woke up 2 of the triplets, who had just stirred from sleep. "What's that, Mommy? Is it coming from the other room?" they asked, almost in unison. She shook her head, unsure of what to tell them. She tried to cover both sides of her face with her hair so they wouldn't see the marks. Thankfully, her sons were usually caught up in their own little world, so they hadn't noticed yet. Vaughn was still asleep, and he was the one she worried about. He always noticed everything, both physically and emotionally. He was bound to be her protector one day, especially against people like Scarlett and Cedric. She brought the 2 boys into the bathroom to freshen up before breakfast. A few minutes later, she heard the door open and close again. She knew it was Cedric, probably checking to see if the triplets were awake. Just as they were stepping out of the bathroom, the 3 of them bumped right into him. She grabbed the boys' hands tightly. She knew they would bolt toward their father the moment they saw him, and she didn't want them to slip and hurt themselves on the tiled floor. "Daddy!" the kids shouted in delight. Good morning, babies. I brought your mommy's breakfast here so we can have breakfast in bed, Cedric said with a smile, but his eyes were clearly red from crying. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, bodies, Vaughn said, now sitting up on the bed and rubbing his eyes. Good morning, young man. Now get up. Your brothers have already taken a bath. You're still in bed. Let me help you, Cedric offered. Really? Yay! Vaughn cheered, raising his hands for Cedric to carry him. What's the color of your toothbrush again, son? Cedric asked as they walked into the bathroom. He was trying to memorize the differences between his sons. He knew it would take time, but he was determined to know them better and get closer to them. Mine is blue, Vince has the green one, Vice's is yellow, Vaughn answered enthusiastically. Jillian sighed quietly, listening to the conversation between father and son. Thank goodness she hadn't been the one to bathe Vaughn. He would have seen her face for sure. By the time the father and son came out of the bathroom, the other two boys had nearly finished their breakfast. Want me to feed you? Cedric asked Vaughn. Of course not, Daddy. I can eat on my own. I'm not a baby anymore, the boy replied indignantly. Mommy, did you eat already? He asked, turning to her. Not yet, baby. I'm still full, she answered. As expected, he started examining her face again. She tried to turn away, but Vaughn pushed her hair back. What's that, Mom? Who hurt you? He asked. Jillian scrambled for an explanation. It's just allergies, baby. I ate some vegetables without knowing they had shrimp in them. You know I'm allergic, right? But don't worry, I already took medicine. It'll go away soon, she explained, even though she wanted to cry again. How many more times would she have to endure being slapped, just so she wouldn't be taken away from her children? Suddenly, Cedric grabbed her and pulled her to her feet. He couldn't bear the pain anymore, not because he was hurting, but because he had caused so much pain to a woman who had done nothing wrong. He had been blinded by his own rage, never even bothering to investigate the truth behind those accusations. Jillian was startled when Cedric hugged her tightly. She felt his face press against her shoulder, heard his sniffles. I'm sorry, he whispered, shoulders trembling with each sob. Jillian furrowed her brows, but didn't pull away. How long had she yearned for his warm embrace? How sweet, the triplets exclaimed, rushing in for a group hug. As Cedric let go, he wiped his tears and spoke. Give me time to process all your paperwork, sons. We're going abroad. What country do you want to visit? Really, Dad? Yay! I want to go to Europe, Vice exclaimed. London, Daddy, said Vin. Me? Even if we don't go anywhere, as long as we're together like this, I'm okay, said Vaughn. Cedric was amazed again by Vaughn's thoughts. He was just like Cedric as a child. I promise, sons, we'll be together forever. No one can tear us apart again. I'll make it up to you and to your mom, he said, emotional as he looked at Jillian and pulled her close. He didn't say anything more. He simply wanted her to feel his remorse through that embrace. But Jillian gently pulled away. I need to take a bath, she said softly, just so she could escape his arms. She quickly entered the bathroom and finally let her tears flow freely. She remembered his old promises, how he swore he'd never leave her, how he claimed to understand her work. All of that had just been empty words. None of it had come true. She was afraid to trust Cedric again. What if he ended up breaking her all over again? She also believed he only said those sweet things because the triplets were there. She stayed under the water, hoping it would wash away her tears and the pain in her heart. Meanwhile, Cedric left the kids with the two maids and returned upstairs to wait for Jillian. He wanted to speak with her privately. He knew sorry wasn't enough for everything he had done and everything he had failed to do. He paced outside her door, waiting. After a few moments, Jillian emerged from the bathroom. Cedric immediately approached. She instinctively covered her chest. She was only wrapped in a towel. She gave him a look, deep, melancholic, but didn't speak. Cedric stayed quiet too. Then Gillian broke the silence. "Where are the triplets, Cedric?" "With the maids. I left them for a while," he said quietly. She glanced at him briefly, then walked toward her closet to get dressed. But Cedric suddenly pulled her by the waist and hugged her from behind. This time she struggled. "Let go of me, Cedric. You don't have to pretend. The kids aren't here," she said firmly. He let go but stared at her intently. "I know I've done so much wrong. To you and to the kids. I was stupid. I believed my mom and Scarlett. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, Gillian." She avoided his gaze. Her heart swelled with all the buried pain his words resurfaced. Still, something puzzled her. Just days ago, he had looked at her like he wanted her gone. And now, he was suddenly this gentle? What changed? She didn't answer. She turned away again and went back into the bathroom to change, too embarrassed to dress in front of him, especially since he owned the house. As she walked past, Cedric suddenly pulled her into his arms and carried her to the bed. Gillian was caught off guard by his speed and his strength, or maybe she had just become so thin. When he climbed on top of her, she started hitting him on the chest. "Get off me! How dare you!" she cried through her tears. Cedric snapped out of it immediately and rolled off her. Gillian sobbed into her hands, still gripping the towel tightly. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I lost control. I didn't mean it." "Gillian, oh God, what have I done?" Cedric whispered as he wiped his face. That wasn't what he had planned. He had only wanted to talk. Maybe he had just missed her too much. He quickly left the room and went to check on the kids. He didn't return to work that day. In fact, he planned to take 3 months off, to take the kids anywhere they wanted to go. His dream? To take them to Disneyland, and he was sure they'd love it there. That entire day, Cedric and Gillian didn't speak to each other, nor in the days that followed. Eventually, the man Cedric had assigned to handle their travel arrangements called. He reported that everything was finalized. The children's papers were in order, and even Gillian's documents were ready. That's the power of money and influence, Cedric thought. If you want something done, all it takes is a call, and things move quickly. He had expected the paperwork to take weeks, but now everything was ready. He was grateful for the privilege he had been born into. Tomorrow they would travel to Disneyland, a surprise trip for Gillian and the triplets. They had no idea. When he told the boys, they were overjoyed. The excitement in their eyes reminded him of what he had missed for years. Gillian wanted to refuse, but she had no choice when the triplets themselves insisted she go with them. And so, the next morning, they all headed to Cedric's private plane. The triplets were bursting with energy as they climbed aboard. Their voices filled the cabin with awe and joy. "Yay! This is it! We finally get to ride an airplane!" Vice exclaimed. His brothers followed suit with their own cheers. "Don't worry, kids. You'll be riding this plane more often now," Cedric told them as he followed behind. "This huge airplane is really ours, Daddy?" Vaughn asked, still not quite believing it. "Yes, kids. You'll inherit all of this one day. We also have a helicopter, lots of cars, businesses and investments. Everything your daddy worked hard for will be yours," Cedric told them proudly. The triplets had no idea how wealthy they really were. They had grown up in the countryside, where life was simple, but now they could have anything they wanted. "We're so lucky. Our dad is super rich," Vince said. Gillian stayed quiet and gave a small smile. If only the kids knew what she had endured at the hands of this rich family. The humiliation, the insults, especially from Cedric's mother. She had lost count. 3 months after their world tour, the family returned to the Philippines. The triplets didn't want to go home. They had enjoyed their vacation so much. But Cedric was needed back at the company, so they had to return. He promised the boys they'd travel again next year. Cedric also planned to enroll them in nursery school. He was sure they'd enjoy that too. When they arrived at the mansion, Cedric's mother was already there, waiting. She had flown in from the States and had been staying for a week. "So it's true, what Scarlett said," she greeted coldly. "And what about the fake photos you showed me?" Cedric shot back, brows furrowed. His mother was stunned. Gillian was even more shocked. She hadn't expected Cedric to know the truth. Now she understood why his attitude toward her had suddenly changed. During their vacation, he had gone out of his way to be sweet and caring, almost like they were still a couple. But she had been too hurt to pay attention to his efforts. She only responded to him when the triplets were watching. "Salve, Faye, please take the boys upstairs," Cedric instructed the maids. "No, I'm staying. That old lady might hurt our mommy," Vaughn said, scowling, his expression just like Cedric's when he was angry. Cedric sighed. It was like looking into a mirror. Vaughn had become the family's protector, and somehow the boy already sensed the tension his grandmother brought. He didn't even know she was his grandmother. Gillian quickly approached the triplets and told them that the adults needed to discuss something important. Vaughn stared at Cedric's mother coldly. She froze under his gaze. He reminded her so much of young Cedric, always ready to defend his mother, especially against his womanizing father. Her anger melted away. She wanted to hug her grandsons, but Gillian caught the look in her eye and stepped in. "Don't you dare go near my children, Mrs. Suzette," Gillian said firmly. "Salve, please take the boys upstairs now," Cedric followed up. The boys quickly went up the stairs with the maids. Gillian watched them until they disappeared into their room. Then the three adults moved to the kitchen so the kids wouldn't hear their conversation. "What do you want now, Mom?" Cedric asked, already angry. "Cedric, you know what kind of woman she is. You're letting her trick you again just because of the children." "It's not Gillian who's been deceitful, Mom. It's you and Scarlett. You both know that." Cedric's voice was rising. Gillian was stunned. She had waited so long to be defended like this, and now it was finally happening. Cedric opened his phone and played a video for his mother. Gillian recognized her own voice. She realized there were hidden cameras all over the mansion. The things she had said in that video had deeply moved Cedric. He decided it was time to let his mother hear Scarlett's dark plans for Gillian and the triplets. This was his chance to finally stand up for Gillian, as a man, as a hero, and as a shield. He should have done this long ago, but he had been fooled by Scarlett. He also knew his mother had been a victim too. Now it was time to wake her up and show her Scarlett's true colors. Suzette watched the footage, unable to believe what she was seeing and hearing. A few moments later, Scarlett arrived and headed straight to the kitchen. She approached Suzette, intending to kiss her on the cheek, but the older woman slapped her hard across the face. Gillian winced. She had received the same kind of slap from the woman years ago when she believed those fake pictures. "Mommy Suzette, why?" Scarlett cried, holding her cheek. "Don't you dare call me Mommy! You're not my daughter! And I will never accept you as my daughter-in-law. You liar! You deceived me and my son." "Don't tell me. You believe that tramp?" Scarlett turned to Cedric. "Babe, please, defend me." "Don't call me babe, Scarlett. We're done. You manipulated me. You destroyed my family. I neglected my children and Gillian because of your lies." "Where is your conscience, Scarlett?" he growled, his eyes burning with rage. "Don't believe her. She's the liar, not me. Babe, I love you. We're still getting married, right?" "You're the liar here, Scarlett. I have evidence, so stop making excuses. I won't accept you back. The wedding is off. I'll never marry someone like you, so full of lies and evil intentions. Everything you showed us, your kindness, was all fake. The footage makes it clear. All you ever wanted was my money. You don't deserve a luxurious life. You deserve to be in prison for what you did to Jillian." "What evidence?" Scarlett pretended not to know. "I installed hidden cameras around the house. I thought Jillian would be the one to deceive us. But guess what? It was you. The day you came here and hurt Jillian, that same day, I learned everything. The lies, the fake photos, your schemes, even how you tried to ruin her life. And you wanted to use my kids too? How dare you? I can explain, babe. No need. Just get out before I decide to call the police. I said get out." He called the guards and had them escort Scarlett out of the mansion. Jillian stood there, speechless. Everything had flipped so suddenly. She never wished for revenge against Scarlett. She had chosen to stay silent and walk away because she thought that was the right thing to do. But now she realized justice does come. Truth always finds a way, and the guilty always face their reckoning. Jillian was caught off guard when Cedric's mother suddenly pulled her into a hug. "I'm sorry, dear. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And my son," the older woman whispered, sobbing as she embraced her tightly. Jillian comforted her, not entirely sure why all her resentment faded so quickly. Perhaps it was because she knew Scarlett had manipulated Suzette too, and the woman's apology felt sincere. "It's okay, Auntie. You don't have to say sorry anymore. What matters is that I've finally cleared my name with you. I never thought this day would come," Jillian said as she tried to wipe Suzette's tears. "You're such a kind girl, Jillian. After everything I did to you, you still forgave me so easily." "I understand, Auntie. You were just trying to protect Cedric. You were a victim too." The older woman shook her head, ashamed of herself. "Thank you, dear. And thank you for taking such good care of my grandsons. Even though I've only just met them, I can already tell how well you've raised them. I'm so impressed. How did you manage to care for triplets all on your own?" "I don't even know how I survived it myself. Things got even harder when my grandfather, who had been helping me, passed away. I nearly gave up, but because I loved my children so much, I found the strength to keep going. It was hard, but I managed." Jillian had been through so much raising the triplets. When they were teething, she had become skin and bones from stress. They would all cry at the same time, and the worst was when they all got sick at once. She had nearly lost her mind with worry. She couldn't even remember how she got through it all, only that she held on to God. She prayed constantly, asking for strength and clarity to raise her children. "I'm sorry for making your life even harder, dear. If only we hadn't believed Scarlett, you wouldn't have had to face all of that alone. Just tell us what you want to do with Scarlett. If you want her imprisoned, we'll have her arrested today." "It's over now. I'm just happy that I have my triplets. They're the reason I keep going every day. I don't want to press charges against Scarlett. I only ask that she stays away from me and my kids. That's enough." Suzette nodded, still visibly in awe of Jillian. "Do you know they look exactly like Cedric when he was little? The moment I saw them, I knew they were my grandsons. And that one, he acts just like Cedric. What's his name again? He reminds me so much of my son when he was a boy, brave and ready to defend his family." She shifted the tone away from the heavy conversation. "His name is Von. The other two are Vince and Vice. Those are beautiful names, and they're all so handsome. Can I go see them upstairs, dear?" "Of course, Auntie. They're your grandsons, and they're sweet boys. You'll win them over easily," Jillian replied. Suzette eagerly climbed the stairs to meet and bond with her grandsons. Meanwhile, Cedric couldn't hold back any longer. He pulled Jillian into a hug. He had been listening to everything she said. His heart ached. Jillian pushed him away. "If I forgave your mother, Cedric, it's because she was innocent. She didn't know me, but you knew me, and still, what did you do? Did you defend me? Did you try to clear my name? Number of all people, you were the one I hoped would be on my side, but you made my life harder." She had wanted to say those words for years, but with the triplets always around, she hadn't dared. Now finally, she let it all out. "I'm sorry, Jillian. Please forgive me. I was stupid and blind. When I saw those photos, I let my emotions take over. I'm sorry I believed Scarlett over you. Please forgive me." He fell to his knees. "What you're asking for is not easy, Cedric. I don't think I can give it to you just like that. I'm not asking for instant forgiveness. I'll wait. I'll endure, no matter how long it takes for your wounds to heal. But please, Jillian, let me make it up to you. Let me be a father to our triplets. Let me earn your forgiveness. Let me prove how sorry I am, and let me love you. I still love you, Jillian. That never changed. Please, just let me be here for you and the kids." Jillian stood silent, stunned, unsure how to respond. "He still loves me. He said it never faded. Can I really believe that?" she wondered. Before she could dwell on it, the loud voices of the triplets echoed from the stairs. Cedric quickly stood up and walked toward the living room to meet them. "Yeah, hey, Mommy, we're going to the mall. Mamita is taking us. It's so fun, Mommy. She's really kind. We love her now." Vince beamed. Suzette glanced at Jillian, silently asking for permission to take the boys out. Jillian nodded and smiled. "Just don't give her a hard time, okay? Be good. No mischief," she reminded them. "Of course, Mommy. We're big boys now. We know how to behave," they chorused proudly. They hugged Jillian and Cedric before heading out, holding their grandmother's hand. "Are you all right with this?" Suzette asked Jillian and Cedric. Jillian simply nodded. She didn't want to ruin the boys' joy. Besides, she knew they'd be safe with Suzette and the guards. "Salve, please assist Mom with the kids, okay?" Cedric instructed the maid. Now it was just the two of them again. Jillian headed upstairs to the room she shared with the triplets. Cedric started to follow, but she quickly stopped him. "Don't follow me into our room. I'm going to rest," she warned. Cedric nodded, but as she neared the door, he suddenly grabbed her and pulled her inside, locking it quickly behind them. He had used his martial arts skills without hesitation. Quick, fluid, efficient. "Cedric, what are you doing?" she growled, but inside she knew she had missed having him to herself like this. "I missed you, Jillian. These past years were a nightmare without you," he said, already in tears, wrapping his arms around her. Jillian's eyes filled with tears too. She hadn't responded earlier when he said he still loved her, maybe because she wanted him to feel how much he had hurt her. She wanted to hate him, but her heart softened every time. He cupped her face and kissed her without warning, and she didn't resist. Instead, she met him halfway. They kissed again and again, like they had been parched for years. Eventually, the kisses deepened and led to more. They made love, passionately, desperately. Exhausted, they fell asleep in each other's arms. Jillian woke up later to Cedric gently tapping her. When she realized what had happened, she felt ashamed. She couldn't deny it. Her every move earlier had shown just how much she had missed him. "Lunch first, before we rest again. Besides, Mom and the boys will probably be back soon," Cedric whispered as he kissed her forehead. He had gone back to being sweet, and Jillian, ever the soft-hearted fool, felt all her pain melt away again. Maybe that's what real love does, she thought. No matter how much she had tried to forget him, she never really could. "I love you, Jillian. My love for you never left. Even when I was with Scarlett, it was always your name my heart and mind called out. I felt so empty when you disappeared from my life," he whispered. Jillian didn't reply, but her eyes, her touch, everything about her said the feelings hadn't gone away either. A month had passed, and Cedric remained consistent in his efforts to win back the mother of his children. He never failed to stop by a flower shop to buy a bouquet of red roses for Jillian, just like he used to. For an entire month, They had been sleeping in the same room, along with the triplets. One morning, Gillian woke up feeling dizzy. She had barely opened her eyes to the sunlight peeking through the curtains when everything spun around her. She fainted before she could even sit up. "Gillian!" Cedric cried out in panic as he rushed toward her and caught her before she collapsed completely to the floor. He saw how pale she was and immediately rushed her to the hospital. He couldn't stay still, pacing back and forth, clearly distressed. "Please, Lord, don't let it be something serious. I just want to build a happy family with her," he prayed, silently, looking up. Eventually, the doctor called him into the room. He nearly sprinted to her side and hugged her tightly. "How are you? Are you okay?" he asked anxiously. "Mr. Cedric, no need to panic. Relax, sir," the OBGYN said gently. "Relax? How can I relax? I saw how pale she was. If I hadn't caught her in time, her head would have hit the floor," Cedric exclaimed, holding Gillian's hand tightly as she gazed at him, clearly amused by how frantic he was. "Well, it's a good thing you did catch her. That could have harmed the baby," the doctor said cheerfully. Cedric froze. "Baby?" he repeated, frowning in surprise. "Yes, sir. She's 3 weeks pregnant. Congratulations to both of you," the doctor announced with a warm smile. Cedric was overwhelmed with joy. He hadn't expected that a single day of giving in to their feelings would result in another child. He stared lovingly into Gillian's eyes. "Another baby, honey. I'm so thankful for this," he whispered, kissing her forehead and wrapping her in another hug. Gillian smiled softly, touched by his visible happiness. When they got home, Cedric immediately shared the news with the triplets that they were going to have a new sibling. The boys jumped for joy. He also told his mother, who was just as thrilled. She hurried to the mansion, unable to contain her excitement. "My grandsons, you're going to have a new sibling. Isn't that wonderful?" Suzette said joyfully to the triplets. "Yes, Mamita, I hope it's a baby girl. We really want a baby princess," Vaughn said enthusiastically. "Oh yes, but even if it's a baby brother, we'll still love him. He'll be our little prince. Then we'll just ask Mommy and Daddy for a baby girl next time." Suzette grinned at them. The triplets giggled and laughed. They were clearly excited at the idea of a growing family. Meanwhile, Gillian and Cedric stayed in their room while Cedric's mother took the boys downstairs for a snack. "Hon, thank you," Cedric said sweetly. "For what?" "For giving me another child, even though you hadn't fully forgiven me yet." "Do you think that baby would exist if I hadn't already forgiven you?" she replied. "You mean, you already forgave me?" "A long time ago. I guess I couldn't really stay mad at you for long. I love you too much, Cedric." "I love you too, honey. Thank you for forgiving me, I promise. I'll only trust you from now on. I won't let anyone else influence me again." "You better not, because next time you let someone sway you again, we're taking the triplets and the new baby and disappearing." "That will never happen again. By the way, hon, are you sure you don't want to press charges against Scarlett? I heard she's no longer in the country. She's latched onto another billionaire, but I can have my men track her down, bring her back here, and make her pay for everything she did to you." "I already told you and your mom. I just want a peaceful life. I have no intention of suing Scarlett. Let her be. Maybe she'll change this time with her new target." "I think she's already married. But Gillian, you're too kind. Why did I ever let you walk out of my life back then?" "Forget the past, Cedric. Learn from it. We're happy now, so let's just leave the past behind. I love you, and I've already forgiven you." Cedric wrapped his arms tightly around Gillian the moment she said it. "I love you more, honey. Let's get married. Right away. What do you want? A beach wedding? A church wedding? A civil one? I'll do all three if you want." Gillian laughed softly. "You're proposing, but it sounds like you're being forced into it." "What? No, I'm not. How can you say that? I love you and the kids so much. Then where's the ring? Cedric scratched the back of his head, embarrassed. He didn't have a ring on him, but Gillian still said yes. The next day, Cedric proposed again, this time properly, with a luxurious ring in hand. Months later, Gillian gave birth to a healthy, beautiful baby girl, a dream come true for the whole family, their long-awaited princess. Just as he had promised, Cedric made their wedding happen, first in a church, then at the beach, and in 5 years, he planned for them to marry once more, this time in the Vatican. Nothing would tear them apart ever again. The end.
Hey, wait a second! You're really about to leave without subscribing? That's just cruel. Look, I may not have magical powers, but every new subscriber gives me superpowers of happiness. And the like button? That's like fries with a burger. Essential. So here's the deal. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell too. So the next time I upload, your phone goes, ding, it's time for awesomeness. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, show some love. If you didn't, show even more love by dropping a comment. Catch you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. And this channel too. Today we're going to share with you the keys to a happy life. Be thankful. Gratitude. Every morning when your eyes open, thank God. No matter how small your blessing be, if you still get breath for body, food for table, and family around you, you're already rich. Grateful heart they bring peace. And peace na the root of happiness. Treat people well. Good behavior. Treat people with respect. Talk to others the way you go want, make them talk to you. If you show kindness, it go come back to you. Smile at somebody. Help your neighbor. Share if you get. It no cost you anything, but it dey bless your soul. Good character na real wealth for this world. Take care of your body and mind. Health. No forget your body na your engine. If you no take care of how you go move. Eat clean, drink water, rest well, and move your body small every day. And not only your body, your mind too. If something dey worry you, talk to someone. Pray, meditate. Peace of mind na serious blessing. Live with purpose, motive, and vision. No just live anyhow. Find what they give you meaning. Whether not to raise your children well, build your small business, or help your community, just get one reason to wake up every day. Purpose na like fire inside body. If you get you go shine no matter the darkness. Respect and hold your relationships, family and community. Money they come and go. Work fit end. But people way love you. They're the true blessings. Call your mama, hug your papa, greet your friend. No keep malice, forgive. Because at the end, the love and connection, they give life real joy.